The fear of the unknown is something we've all probably experienced at some point in our lives. In fact, there are a number of fears or phobias that a lot of us have probably contended with. The fear of the dark, claustrophobia, the fear of deep water. Have you experienced any of these things yourself? Welcome back to HorrorScoped, where today we're going to take all these fears and, like the Power Rangers, combine them into a Megazord of terror. Grab your oxygen tank and dive gear if you have it, as we take the plunge into Iron Lung and try to figure out just what is lurking in the depths of blood. And if you like horror breakdowns of your favorite games in terms of lore and quite literally game breaking, subscribe now and help us at 500,000 subscribers. Imagine, if you will, a time in the future where humanity has taken to the stars. Mankind, doubling down on the idea that space is our future, has built orbital colonies in space and has even colonized Mars. In this alternate timeline, the human race managed to establish its first space colony in the year 1992 AD, and in response to this occasion, adopted a new calendar recorded as EIC, Epic of Interplanetary Colonization, with 1992 serving as the new Year Zero. This colony, Mars, was truly a historic moment for all mankind. However, even as humanity continued to seemingly prosper well into the years of this newly established calendar, all that awaited them in the future was tragedy. Hundreds of years went by, and humanity's progress ultimately brought them to the year 357 EIC, or 2349 AD. There was no warning, no hint or sign of what was to come. All that was to be found was confusion and despair, as Earth, Mars, the Sun, and all the rest of the planetary bodies in the solar system vanished without a trace. Eventually dubbed as the Quiet Rapture, the cosmic event saw the entirety of the universe stripped of its stars and habitable worlds, leaving only celestial rubble and barren moons in its wake. No light, no resources, only darkness, and the confusion of those few humans who remained in the vacuum of space within the space station colonies, evidently spared from this great vanishing. Spared is probably a strong word, as it perhaps would have been better to have been whisked away than to have been left to survive in the resource-deprived aftermath. The title given to this mysterious event, of course, has theological ties, with the idea of the rapture being that true Christian believers would be transported to heaven upon the second coming of Christ. While it certainly remains to be seen if the billions of people who disappeared, along with the celestial bodies of the universe, were taken by a supernatural force, they were nevertheless removed from this existence, and have left the survivors to fend for themselves and fight over the remaining scraps. This, of course, brings us to the present. The remaining humans in their space stations have fallen into infighting, specifically the two largest governments that have emerged, the Consolidation of Iron, or COD, and Eden. The larger of the two, Eden, named after the Martian space station where its seat of power resides, sabotaged the reactor of Filament Station, a colony of the COD, and made it completely uninhabitable. All of this is in large part due to the stark lack of resources available to the few surviving humans, which brings us to the time frame where the game Iron Lung itself takes place. Among the barren moons discovered in the wake of the Quiet Rapture were a number that are home to what are dubbed as blood oceans. Among these moons is AT-5, where we find ourselves at the onset of the game. These moons are anomalies in that, at least in these oceans, there seem to be signs of life. Not that this is knowledge available to the public. The player is a criminal who is tasked with exploring this anomaly in an obviously shoddy submarine dubbed as an Iron Lung. Criminals are chosen for this work as part of their rehabilitation through a community service coined as the Criminal Realization Program. This initiative likely serves two purposes. The first of which is what the criminals and other civilians are told, that the service allows for humanity to find resources to survive and clues about the Quiet Rapture, as well as providing a path for the criminals to be rehabilitated and reintroduced to what's left of society. While the first portion of that is likely true, the people in control of these exploratory dives likely don't care whether the convicts survive the ordeal. This thought is seemingly confirmed through information gathered from a previous occupant of this particular Iron Lung once the expedition is underway. A note found in the game reads as follows, quote, "This is not an expedition, it is an execution. When they put you in here, they don't want you to return, and even if you do, and even if they keep their promises, what freedom waits for you? A few dying ships in a sea of dead stars? If there is still hope, it lies beyond the veil. Hope in this void is as illusionary as the starlight. I will choose to breathe my last here at the bottom of an ocean, unseen, unheard, uncontrolled. They will get their execution. I will get my freedom." End quote. Grim as that may be, we get further confirmation of this idea through our exploration of the floor of the Blood Ocean. there are many suspicious locations in the depths, including both strange humming monoliths, vein-like pipe objects, and even the remains of buildings. Also encountered is an inexplicable source of light, believed to be some sort of portal, though it cannot be confirmed at the present time. Whatever it is, the submarine is quite rattled in its presence, and feels as though it might simply break apart right then and there. Equally unsettling are the creatures that are clearly present and are likely stalking the vessel. Eventually, as our submarine slowly loses its structural integrity, we may find ourselves at the coordinates of X782, Y703, angle 176, the site of the wreckage of the SM-8. If we use the database in the rear of the Iron Lung, we can find that the SM-8, unlike the Iron Lung, is a vessel intentionally designed for deep water research and was manned by an actual scientist as opposed to a convict. The data entry here has some colorful language, left by an understandably angry prior occupant of the Iron Lung. The information here confirms the information from the earlier note, cementing the player's status as expendable in the search for answers in this bloody anomaly. Where does this leave us? Well, unfortunately, dead, and with many questions unanswered. The integrity of the vessel was very obviously eroding away through the course of the journey, but we also had telling signs of being hunted. Between the photograph of the eye looking directly into the camera and fuzzy images of what vaguely resembled an anglerfish, we knew we were in trouble. Ultimately, the latter, an entity which has been dubbed Frog, tears open the rear of the Iron Lung, destroying it and likely devouring us in the process. This entire venture is harrowing, as it combines many aspects of natural fears, as we previously mentioned. The entire scenario may possibly have been inspired by the internet's hub for all things horror/science fiction, the SCP Foundation. Specifically, SCP Entry 354, as the details a Pool Red Liquid discovered in their continuity's version of Northern Canada. This pool has repeatedly had creatures and other sorts of entities emerge from it that were generally both extremely hostile and hard to kill. Now, we can't say whether or not Frog or Scaly, the entity from the eye photograph, are both hostile or hard to kill. Frog certainly checks the first box, but Scaly is thought to be perhaps a whale, due to the whale-like remains found on the blood ocean floor. Scaly could also merely be curious, with the flash of a photograph being a trigger for its roar and potentially defensive actions. Ultimately, it all remains to be answered. But of course, what do you think? I really want to hear your thoughts and theories, so let me know in the comments below. Subscribe now for more videos like this, and until next time, horror fans, cheers!